What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unorthodox, the Taku Guy. Doing an unboxing video today is really exciting because we've got Diamond Select Toys next series in a lineup for Kingdom Hearts. Especially as everyone's probably really excited about the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 finally got its date, and it looks better than I could have ever imagined. I wasn't really entirely, on the hype train for Kingdom Hearts 3 because it's taken so long that it's like, I guess, come to a low point. But now that it's finally got a date and we saw so much about it, it looks amazing. Back up on the train. Let's go, Kingdom Hearts, this awesome series. So, now that Diamond Select Toys, they don't really have too much attention on these things. Now, I know most people probably have the Play Arts Kai or Bring Arts or anything like that, or figure arts of figures of the Kingdom Hearts series from Sora, Aqua and stuff like that. Diamond Select makes these really cool action figures that are actually action figures that don't look too bad. They're pretty affordable, as you can see even by the price here, and they actually aren't that bad. That's the biggest thing about them. I was actually more surprised with the Sora here than I actually was, I guess, turning out to be. I didn't really want to give these a chance. I thought they were kind of like but are actually not that bad. So this is really cool to show. So we have the next series that's out. If you haven't seen these already, the first series had Mickey and some weird Heartless there. They had Sora. They actually had quite a few versions of Sora. This is the Toys R Us exclusive one. There's a normal one, there's a Target one, and a GameStop one with different forms. So if you want to have them all, you're going to have to do a little bit of hunting. Especially this one right here is probably going to be the pain in the butt, since no one cared about it until Toys R Us started disappearing. So I got this one for like $7, so I didn't care. As you probably previously saw in another video of mine, I was actually pretty surprised with how decent this figure is. But anyways, back onto this. Pete is in a massive box. Like, he fills this whole thing. He's a massive figure. He actually is as big as comparison to these guys. Roxas is out in this series. We have Donald and Goofy, which we have right here, and then Chip and Dale come with Pete. So this is really cool. I wanted to grab Donald and Goofy. I got lucky. I was out with my girlfriend, stopped at a local GameStop, and they had one. This is a fresh new series, so I'm trying to get it before people start, I guess, noticing these things and then start scalping them because the hype train of Kingdom Hearts. So let's unbox these and check out if they're any worth it at all. Now, I don't have my little trusty knife on me, so we're gonna go basic and just rip it open. Inbox collectors, yield your eyes. This is a unboxing channel, a review channel. Let's get rid of that. Alright. They do tie in some of their figures with the twist ties, which are kind of annoying, but you'll see on this one here. And then they got a couple of the quick tab ones that you just can snip off or just pull until they snap. One thing that is really cool is Donald and Goofy both come with their iconic items, or weapons, or shielding, as you say, from Kingdom Hearts. So Donald has his trusty shield, and Goofy has his trusty shield. I'm sorry, I have that backwards. And Donald has his magic wand. Let's pull off the top cover. Slide out the twist tie. Normally there's like a ton of these. There's only one, so maybe this won't be a super pain in the butt. We'll find out in just a sec. Like, Sora had like 5 on him alone, I think, or something like that. I don't know. It was a pain in the ass. Okay, so Goofy's shield actually is a little shield. It's got concave to it with a little handle. Donald's wand. Actually, it looks really good. It's nicely sculpted. Painted pretty decent. See, detail wise, the paint's got a little bit of imperfections on the bottom, But overall, not bad. Yeah, I'm only seeing really on the bottom, it's like a little excessive smudging, but what can you complain for a $20 figure? Especially when you're getting multiple figures, not just one figure. That's the biggest thing. You're getting Donald and Goofy together. So this is really cool. The only thing I'm not huge on, I guess, say, doing figures like this, is because I like figures with customization. I don't like them to be, I guess, semi-static. But there are some diamonds in the rough, pun intended, I guess, in this point, diamond select, that aren't too bad. Yeah, wow, holy crap. Got a decent range of motion on that one. Unfortunately, he has a stuck joint on that side, but that's okay. Okay. Not going to force that joint. It will break. Goofy is a nice size. They have a really good height for him. Let's pull these tabs so they break. One more. Can you just grab them, pull them until they snap, and then he will come out. Okay, now that we got all that done and out of the way, let's just toss that into the plastic there. So, height comparison, in terms of next to Sora, Goofy is pretty close in terms of height. I feel like Goofy should have been a little taller. I don't know if that's just me. I think Goofy is taller than Sora, if I recall. So, height's a little, I guess, a little off. I could be mistaken. So, arms and movement, let's see. We got movement on rotation and pivot, which is good. We need that, especially because we gotta have him hold his shield. Alright, let's make sure we got rotation and pivot. Okay, works there too. Ankles do have pivot points, which is actually pretty cool. Most budget figures do not get rotation on the ankles, so that adds a nice little amount of movement. We got typical twist on the ankles, which is what you would normally get, but you normally wouldn't get pivot. So that's really good for getting a figure to stand how you want them to stand. One thing about Diamond Select is it's probably going to happen on these two. Yeah. We got the ability to have the legs go outward, and most budget figures don't let you do that, but I did notice that a lot of figures are getting better in this day and age, except for McFarlane. Now, this is actually a really interesting joint. This is not something I normally would see. Let's take his shield off. So, we have on the hips here, we have a slot, okay? We have the groin area. Now, as the joint goes up, it rotates on that slot there, and then that one slot rotates on the center joint. That's not a normal joint how you would normally design that, but that's actually pretty clever and cool. The only downfall is it does have a back movement restriction. So you see where the, let's see if I can focus or anything like that. See, there's a flat spot right here. Okay, as I move it backwards, it hits stop on the butt pad there, and you can't have any range of motion going backwards. So he does have limited articulation in terms of putting the leg backwards. So, like you'll actually see here on Sora, I have him with one leg in a back position and one leg in a forward position, because I have him in, set up in like some sort of battle stance to give it a little more flair. I unfortunately can sort of do that with Goofy, but not. I would have to dominantly put the front leg. So you see, the front leg would be dominant for that. So I can still pull it off. It's not the end of the world, but there is limited articulation, which is, it's not the worst thing. For $20 figures for 2 figures in here, I don't think I have room to complain, especially because these actually are moving and working. They don't look that bad. The paint's definitely acceptable. Like, going on the little details of like the zipper on the pants and everything, I doubt it's gonna focus, but you can actually see the jaggedness on the zipper, and you have the little XYZ little like pull tab thing. I don't even know what to call it. Part of the zipper where it allows you to grab and pull it. The belt details are fantastic. They actually have a really nice look to the belt, especially for the money. Like, it looks appropriate as hell. Very, very much digging the look on Goofy here. So good job on Goofy. He looks very well together. You can mostly fully articulate him. Head motion, we have head tilting, we have rotation, up and down. We have full motion on Goofy's head here for range of motion and expression. And that's actually pretty awesome. Now, he doesn't hold his shield very well. It kind of just like, he cups his hand and you kind of just drop it in there and just let it dangle. So, is what it is. He's going to hold it. It's going to work as a display. So that's going to be cool. And then Donald, he's pretty simplistic. He definitely seems like the throne character. But I'm actually surprised on his arm here. Alright, so we have his head. Now, it is tight. I feel like I'm scared I might snap his head. But it's on a ball joint. So I'm going to try to like wiggle it. Break some friction up. I think the paint's sticking. So just be careful with it so you don't snap it. And I'll actually show you an example of what's going on here in his arm here. So I got motion here to go the rotation, and I got the pivot for his arm, which is good. I'm going to put his wand on this arm. But we have paint sticking on this one for the rotation. So if I go to force this, I think I'm going to end up snapping his pin in his arm. But I have pivot. So I'll get his arm just like out, and I'll have his wand over here instead. Because if I go to pivot this, I'm going to snap that. As for feet, it's just on a rotator. There's no ball joint or anything. So for these, you can get range of motion, turn side, and turn side. One thing I did notice, they did actually, we'll like to point that out. These don't come with stands. They actually stand okay on their own. But all of their feet, you can actually see it there, they have holes in their feet. So if you have some optional stands or anything like that, or want to be creative, they gave you the option to be so, which is pretty cool. They don't give you any stands. But all these figures stand perfectly fine on their own. They did a good job on doing that. And they balance quite well on their own for a budget figure. And they don't have the problem like I do with some figures where, like on like my recent NECA from Kratos I got there, or like Sephiroth from the PlayArts original series, not PlayArts Kai, but PlayArts. The ankles, they literally like to lean forward and they just dump the figure. And that's what sucks about having tight joints. There is a fix for it. You gotta use like furniture polish and crap like that. But I just haven't gotten to it. It's not a big deal. I'll get to it. So, how am I gonna have him hold this? He's got a very, very loose gripped hand. Kind of want to like take like a heat gun and tighten up his hand a little bit or something like that. His hands are really like just like open, big open, and this is almost like a 1/12 scale pull type ideal. So I guess he's just gonna grab it by the top or something and hold it like a walking stick. Look how he has it on the package. Man, they didn't even bother showing him holding it on the package. Those bastards. Like, yeah, it's included. You'll figure it out. That's how it is with some figures, I guess. Diamond Select is not exactly like high tier figure company, but I can definitely give them more praise than I can for other figure companies because they make claims that are not true. And I'll always go back to my ripping on McFarlane. Actually, I got one recently. I would like to chime in on this episode where you can see an example. Alright, so this is a $20 figure from McFarlane, and this figure has very specific articulation. They like to call it an action figure. Now, this is what I call I put this in a box. It has crumpled up articulation just so I can ship it articulation, and it's actually a static figure. Shh. So what I mean by that is, this figure is designed and meant to have one pose, and it's supposed to go on a stand that's included. But they ship it in a compressed box and whatnot, and they're all like crumpled up like a fetus. So McFarlane, when they changed over, whoever the company they switched over, whatever they designed and thought they were a good idea to switch, they changed their scale, they changed their boxes, they changed how they sculpted, they're painted, and they changed our articulation big time. Now, you'll see I got a Kate here recently. I'm going to experiment with her. I got her for $5, clearing out from Toys R Us. That is literally the only money I'd be willing to spend on these, because I like Gears of War, but I do not like McFarlane figures after all the crap that I see. Now, you'll see on this arm, she has the pivot, she has the rotator. Alright? Now, it has a rotator there for an elbow. The elbow here, I took this arm off on purpose. It did not fall off, I will say that. Now you'll see on this side, so we got the pivot, we have the rotator, and this arm here is a rotator. So what sucks about that is, she can only have a very specific position for her arm. She has minor articulation. And what happens too is, they sculpt the arm to be in one position too, so you can see where the cast lines are supposed to meet. That's ideal where they kind of want the arm to be. So they designed the muscles to be in a specific spot. So it looks like her matchup point is like right. It's hard to even tell. Yeah, like right there. It's like up or something, or like that muscle definition actually matches. So my idea, what I'm gonna do is, actually before I even get into that, these knees, right? She's got full design here. Actually, you can easily pull this leg out. She has full normal articulation type ideal joint in here. It's got the pivot, and it's got the rotator, even with a clicker to hold position. But they designed her kneecap to collide, where, see, you can't even put it in like that. It has to literally be bent into position. That is the most open her leg will go, and then that's when you can start trying to pivot more. And that's like a good luck type thing. So it's almost static. So why'd you bother putting a freaking joint in there when, you know, like even her ankle here, this is solid. That's static. What was the point of adding articulation if you have a figure that's going to be static? And you have the nerve to call an action figure. So this is the type of crap that I'm talking about when I'm complaining about NECA. Also, by the way, her skin tone is wrong. The sculpt is bad. She looks high as shit. Don't get me started on McFarlane. So, every time I always go to my good example of McFarlane figures that I charge about $20, and then you see wonderful figures that actually articulate. You know, they actually have their range of motion that they're supposed to do, and they don't look too bad. Now, granted, you know, these guys don't have elbows, but Sora does. Sora has elbows. Alright, full range of motion. Look at this. We got a rotator. We got a pivot. It's a little restrictive because he's got the weird elbow thing, but it's there. Alright, and then we have rotation on the elbow here. Then we have rotation on the wrist. Holy crap! Diamond Select can pull off a McFarlane can't? Yes, I'm that savage because it's a simple thing. If you want to call your figure an action figure, it better be fucking action. Right? I'm not being like super like critical on something like that. Just be what you're claiming it to be. That's the biggest thing. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you really liked the breakdown of Diamond Select toys, and they're actually not that bad. So if you were thinking about picking up some of these guys, if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts or anything, I grew up on Kingdom Hearts, so I'm a definite fan of the series, and I will be picking enough where I do like high-end figures. I can recommend these guys. At you should expect to pay around $20 for these figures. You'll see, I will point out one thing. For the older series of these Kingdom Hearts figures, from his batch, Sora, GameStop was charging an arm and a leg for them. It was obscene. Like, 30 something plus, and then they cleared them out at 25. Mind you, they did not cost that much at Target, and they did not cost that much at Toys R Us. And people were claiming that Toys R Us overcharges. I was like, wait until you walk into a GameStop and see how much they overcharge. So their clearance is more expensive than Toys R Us's MSRP. Think about that for a second before you people complain about how they thought that Toys R Us charged too much money. GameStop charges more, and they're still in business. Right now, if you do have a Toys R Us still in the area, I don't know when I'll get this video actually up, but at the end of June, I know Toys R Us will be gone for good. Rest in peace. You can get figures. You won't get the new series. I doubt they'll be doing that because they're not stocking anything new. But from the first series, you can get stuff for like $7. So go give it a shot at that cheap if you can find some. You'll see Axel, you'll see Mickey, you'll see Sora. You might see Sora because he's a Toys R Us exclusive there. For like $7. Go give it a shot. You'll love these figures. I absolutely recommend them for the money, especially if you can get it cheaper. So just don't pay the 25 plus, at GameStop. Wait until they clear them out cheaper because no one's buying them. Until like the scalpers really get their hands on them and try to like limit the numbers and boost up the numbers by shilling on eBay and stuff. Yada yada yada. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode and dealing with me rant as usual, breaking down the do's and don'ts of buying figures, and hope you enjoyed it. So until the next time you see one of my episodes, remember to stay unorthodox.